everybody, it's your girl SherrysJoy from Bookmarked. Thank you so much for joining me. I am one half of the DigiKast. I'm very excited about this next book that I reviewed or that I read called The Note by Alafair Burke. This book I found through an advertisement on my Kindle. I know a lot of people hate the advertisements and want to pay extra for not having them. But I actually appreciate them. I mean, they have given me some good suggestions and they've given me some bad suggestions. And, that's how I find new authors and new reads. When I was reading the cozy romance novels a few weeks ago, my Kindle, it started giving me advertisements for these like Fabio looking cover romance books. And I was like, no, that's like not for me. But it's just now starting to get back into like my historical fiction and my thriller advertisements, which are great. And that's right up my wheelhouse, or right up my alley, my wheelhouse. So here we go. So The Note. I came across this, like I said, through my advertisements, and I rented it from the library. I e-rented it from the library through the Libby App. And I was on hold for like 8 weeks. I was in line to rent this book. And when I finally got it, I read through it in like 3 days. It was amazing. Because I was able to put myself inside of the book, and the way Miss Burke writes is phenomenal. It was great. I found out I always do research before I read a book. So Miss Burke, she has a New York Times bestseller. She's the recipient of an Edgar Award, and she is recommended by O Magazine, which is Oprah's magazine, if you don't know. And, I read the synopsis of this particular book, The Note, and I was like, all right, let me give this a try. So the book is about three friends. May is the main character. We really follow her mostly. So it's May, Lauren, and Kelsey. They all met at summer camp. It's a musical camp. And when they met, May and Kelsey were students, and Lauren is a little bit older. So she was the music director, counselor of the camp. And they all met and they had a wonderful time. Lauren and May became really close, and they went to college kind of near each other in Boston. One went to Boston College, one went to Harvard, which are very close together. And the next year, or, when they became old enough to become counselors, they became counselors at this camp, and they became friends with Lauren. And so they all just kind of kept in touch. May she was a DA prosecutor. She's now a professor. She teaches law. The book takes place in the Hamptons in New York, and they go on vacation and they rent this house in the Hamptons, and they want to have like a girls' time, girls meet up and all of that, and havoc ensues. So it's like, well, how much havoc could ensue? I don't know. It's like three women who are on vacation, right? So there could be a lot of things. They actually go to this restaurant where they had reservations for, and you had to have reservations. It's like this popular restaurant, and they're waiting in the parking lot for this parking space for like ever. And so they're waiting for somebody to pull out. So as someone's pulling out, another car pulls in from the other side, and it like cuts them off. And of course that would make anybody upset, right? So they get really upset, but May is like, come on, let's just go in, forget about it. They notice that the car has like Florida plates, and this man and this female get out of the car, and they go, wherever. So the girls, they go into the restaurant, and they're having a good time. They're having wine and their vodka and stuff like that. And they notice that couple is in the same restaurant. So one of them is like, ooh, here, let me take a napkin and write this note. Hey, we were waiting for that spot. How rude. It was so rude of you to cut us off. That was our spot. And they're all like, yeah, ha, 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 that's like not funny. Don't even do that. Don't worry about that. It's not worth it. So then someone else is like, yeah, I'm going to write this note. He's cheating. He always does. So that's also mean, right? So it's like, well, where did that come from? What are you writing that for? This could like really jack the couple up. Like, she could get upset. You never know how people are. This is how domestic violence starts and all this other stuff. So, you know, it's like, all right, well, we'll rip the notes up. You would think they would rip the notes up, but then there wouldn't be a book. So what actually happens is one of them goes to the car and leaves the note that says, hey, he's cheating. He always does, on the windshield. And then they go back to the house and they do more drinking. And May is like, I don't know if she's a lightweight or what, but she falls asleep like outside, you know, and then she wakes up. It's like early a.m. and she finds this note with a bottle of water and some Advil, saying, hey, take this. You know, we tried to wake you up. You would not come into the house. So she goes into the house and, you know, she hears things. She hears a phone conversation, but she's still kind of like trying to figure out what's going on because it's not clear. It's foggy, right? She's hungover. And then she thinks she hears a car, and then she like passes out and goes to sleep. So the next day they come, you know, one of them goes to the store, comes back with a flyer. It's like, hey, do you guys recognize this guy, this person on this flyer? And they're like, and she's like, it's the guy from last night who stole our parking space. So he's missing. It's like a missing person's flyer. And you're like, okay, what happened? So they're trying to figure out like what happened. And they, May wants to go and like report it to the police because they saw them and they could be helping people and all this other stuff. And then we find out later that this missing person is actually someone they were affiliated with. His name is David, at the camp that they went to. He was the boyfriend of one of the other counselors that they became friends with, named Marnie. And Marnie, she had an unfortunate water accident where she became unalived in the water. And so it's like, well, what's the connection here? You know, like, oh my goodness. And the story, that was like a spoiler, but not a major spoiler, because the story doesn't really tell you that right away. Like, you kind of find that out through different flashbacks. So it's really, you know, then we meet this detective. He comes in and he's like doing the investigation. We find out that there is some infidelity in this. May, she actually has a fiance. His name is Josh. They live in New York City. And, you know, they have a dog, Gomez, who's a pug. And you find out that May is actually half Asian, and it flashes back to like COVID time, like mainstream. I don't know if that's the right word to say, but like when COVID was like at its highest peak. So New York City, if you remember, even the whole entire state of New York was really bad. Like their numbers plummeted like fast. So she is in the middle of this pandemic, and she had to take the subway somewhere, and she's wearing a mask. You know, there was a complete mask mandate, right? So she gets upset because this person who's near her isn't wearing a mask, and she says something to him, and he's like, well, basically like, well, how dare you say this to me? Like, mind your own business. And she's like, excuse me, but you're making me uncomfortable. And he's like, well, whatever, you know, mind your own business. And then she like kind of like backs away from him. And then she hears like this racial slur that's being said to her. And so that makes her nervous and scared. So she starts freaking out, and she's all, I'm going to call the cops. I'm going to call the police on you. And he's a black man. And I'm going to call the police on you, and yada, yada, yada. And excuse me. She's like screaming and all this other stuff. So this video, because what do, right? We take video of everything that we see these days. So this video actually went viral during the pandemic, and they nicknamed her Asian DA Karen, right? Because she was a district attorney. So that title follows her through the book, right? So you're like, but she's not really, her personality isn't really coming out or coming across as a Karen throughout the book. But we learn that, but she does want to fix things, right? She does want to take control of things. But I think she has good intent, right? I know she has good intent. So that's just a backstory for that. And then Lauren is the infidelity's backstory. She was actually having an affair with a part owner of the camp back in the, back then when they went to camp. And, it's like he's married. We don't know if he has children. And then Kelsey, she was actually married and her husband was unalived on purpose. So it's like, okay. Then Kelsey has a stepbrother. His name is Nate, and their parents were, married at one point. Obviously, it's her stepbrother. And then they got divorced, like, mysteriously. The stepfather's name is Bill. He absolutely cannot stand Nate for some reason. I don't know, you don't really know why. And then you've got David, who's missing. So it's like, well, what happened to David? Where is he? So that's the premises, the plot of the book. Now, what did I like about this book? I loved the fact that it was a page turner. I read it in 3 days. I was engaged in it. I was there. I was all up in the book, and it was wonderful, right? It's like 420 something pages, and I just kept turning and turning and turning. And it makes it a lot easier when the chapters are like shorter, like 12 pages, you can read it in 12 minutes or what have you. That's what I loved, that's what I liked about the book. What I did not like about the book were all of the plot twists. Usually I love a good plot twist, but it had so many twists, so many characters, so many flashbacks, and so many facts that had nothing to do with each other. And then you kind of like are left hanging at the end of the book, like, what? So it's like, is Miss Burke going to come out with a second book for this or what? Now, it does not end on a cliffhanger. It's just some of these plots that are happening within the book, you're kind of like, this is a dead end. Like, ooh, this is happening. Oh my goodness. Nothing. So, I mean, that I couldn't stand that. It's like, I need to know more information. So those are the things that I did not like. Now, unfortunately, I am going to rate this book, in my opinion, a 3. It had the potential to be a 5. It did. I was engaged. I was right there. But because of the confusion and those hanging plot lines, I rate it a 3. Now, if you have a book that you think that I should read or that you think that I would enjoy, or if you want to just, hear my opinion on it, please, let me know in the comments. Reach out to me. I'm SherrysJoy on Blue Sky, and you can find me on Instagram, Bookmarked SJ. I am part of the DigiKast, and we are on Facebook, Spotify, and Instagram as TheDigiKast. We have a website, TheDigiKast.substack.com, and check out our Amazon affiliate link. We'll list that information below. For all of the wonderful things that we like, that we enjoy, we do Vacation on a Budget, we do, gaming and a bunch of other things. So I really appreciate you guys, watching my videos and giving me comments and the likes and stuff. If you liked this video or any of my videos and you think that someone else would benefit from, listening to my videos, please share the videos, share the DigiKast link, the YouTube link. We really appreciate it very much. We are building our engine. We are, doing this together, my husband Rob and I, and we're having a lot of fun with it. I really enjoy reading, and I really enjoy discussing the books with you all and, with my family, my immediate family. So this has been such a fun journey and such a great new project for me for 2025. I'm just so excited about what the rest of the year is going to bring. So thank you so much again for all of your time and for watching this video. I'm SherrysJoy. Love the world.